Hey everybody, welcome to Technically Unraveled. Thanks for joining today. I want to go ahead and make sure that I'm inviting you to like, share, and subscribe. I want to make sure that you are always up to date with anything we're doing here on Technically Unraveled. We also have the game that hosts tomorrow. You've got Matt and Dom. Then we've got a brand new show. I want to say it's brand new, but I mean, I think they have a couple shows already and they're so good. The Academy team, they're on Tuesdays. If you're liking and subscribing, you're going to stay up to date with all of those. So please make sure you do that. We have a lot of stuff to cover. So let's go ahead and jump straight into some updates. First, we've got Beyond. I think like the official countdown's out. There was a really cool video out on LinkedIn. It's almost sold out. I think there's like in the single digit amount of tickets left. If you are waiting until the last minute, please do not. It is going to sell out. We've got June 11th through 13th. We're all going to be at the Gaylord there in Denver, Colorado. I know myself and a lot of our Microsoft team is going to be there. There's a ton of good information. We're going to talk a little bit about Beyond in a bit, but I do want to call out, we are going to have some mini recaps. So each day, myself, and you might remember David Powell from a prior show, we are going to be hosting some live recaps each day, just some of those quick little highlights. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be on Monday and Tuesday at 3 p.m. That's why you want to like and subscribe. That way we can make sure that you get all of those. Now, we've always got events happening, right? But I want to make sure that you're ahead of the game. Let's get those calendars blocked. U.S. Modern Workplace Bootcamp, we've got that scheduled in July. That's the 25th and 26th. Dynamics in August. Azure in September. All of these are available for registration. So please go to Pax8.com. You've got your Microsoft event tab there. So please make sure you go through, look at those. We even have AWS bootcamps. So want to make sure that you are getting everything that you need from us here at Pax8. Next, we talked a little bit about this already, but class data. I know it sounds a little confusing, right? But I want to make sure that you're utilizing this class data, and this is information that Microsoft gives directly to you as partners. Hugely valuable. So it's broken out into a couple different sections. Now you're going to see Act Now, Evaluate, Nurture, and Educate. These Act Nows, that's saying, hey, this is hot and ready to go. This is a hot lead. Please make sure that you're acting on these. As a whole at Pax8, all of you partners, you represent $1.9 billion available. That's insane when you start looking at that. So please make sure if you don't have, the full rundown on what class data is and how you can utilize it, reach out to your account team. We are more than happy to make sure that you have the training, the resources, everything you need, but it is such a powerful tool. All right, I'm not going to just keep going on that one. Please reach out to the account team. We all get excited when you say billion with a B. All right, US and Canada, hands-on labs. Please make sure you're signing up. We've got lots of those down in the description. We added on a couple more. There's a 2-day Dynamics one. We've got some Azure. We've got all different kinds that are happening. So please make sure you're checking those out. They're free to you as partners. Always want to make sure that you have those enablement. Now, I know we talked about saving something as a bookmark before. It's a little pop quiz. Hope you guys saved this because Microsoft monthly newsletter, that will be coming out next week. It's either the 6th or the 7th, and it's the same link over and over. You've got it broken up by different currencies, so just make sure you bookmark that, and it'll be easy enough to have it pulled up this next week. Now, without any further waiting, we've had a little bit of a change. It's a live show. People get sick. We shuffle things around and we come up with some new content day of. So Matt, thanks for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to have been it's a pleasure to be here. Completely voluntarily. Yes. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me on as a backup.
A backup. Matt, we just moved you up a little. You just got elevated into today. So you've been on quite a few times. Tell me your role. Who are you?
Yes, so I am Matt Batterbee. I am the Global Solutions Director for Microsoft Business Applications. So all things Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform, that all rolls into me, and I'm extremely passionate about that.
I am shocked, and I'm sure so is everybody who's seen you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that is my
Uh,
second job, is just that guy on LinkedIn.
that guy. That's why we get all the selfies with you and we do all the posts, and it's a ton of fun, right? I like it.
Exactly.
So, right now, here at Pax8, we are heads down in Microsoft Fiscal Planning. And this was really relevant. I think it's an easy topic for us to talk about because it's what we're living day in and day out. And if everybody on the call isn't aware, I just want to make sure before we just assume, fiscal year for Microsoft, right? That is going to run from July to June. So FY23 for Microsoft is coming to an end. We're in the last month. It is June 1st. I don't really know how we got here so quickly, but FY24 is knocking on the door, Matt. And when we talk about partners, what is this fiscal year? What does that mean for different partners that we work with?
Yeah, I think there's no coincidence that Inspire is in July, the same time as the new FY. So that new fiscal year really is a chance for all partners to look at it like a new beginning. Not to get too cheesy there, but really understand what can they look at over the last 12 months. How have they performed? What's gone well? What's working, what's not working, and then look into what Microsoft resources are available to help those partners to activate on what's not been working, or what they want to go to market with, or look at what Microsoft strategies are. When you look at in July, when you start to look at those resources like the Dynamics Partner Portal or the Azure, the Modern Work, or the Power Platform one, you start to see new resources, new sales plays, new go-to-market strategies, new training, all these things. So if now's the time to start thinking about how can you expand your practice, or how can you go more down a niche route with your customer base, and start to think about how can you do that with Microsoft support and even Pax8
Sure.
support. We're coming up with a ton of content and academy to help partners do just that. So really is a fresh start for sure.
Excellent. And I know that Microsoft, they always do the shift and the shake, and different teams get moved around, new priorities come out. We look forward to Inspire because that's where they really say, hey, here's these big events. I think that's great. Now, we've got 1 month left. And Dark Web Monthly, we're going to see if we can get Walter here at some point on this show. But we've got 1 month left. Matt, I mean, with such little time, what do I say to partners that are like, okay, I've only got these 30 days. What is your priority?
I think it's a case of, you've got to, one thing I would say is checking that co-op. Real quick, you've got to make sure you're checking that co-op. It is a case of use it or lose it when it comes to co-op. So if you are a partner, get into that partner center and check your co-op. Make sure you're using that. Remember what you earned in the previous half, you using this half, and it has to be used or you will lose that. So make sure you're claiming for that. And then think about things that you can use that for, whether it's certs, your team certs, those kind of things. But yeah, that is something definitely to look at. And then also, look at your business. Like I say, if you look over the last 12 months, what you've achieved, and maybe what you can build on. I was at a Dynamics event last week talking to numerous Dynamics partners and helping them think about what do they want to do next. They might be really successful in the CRM side of things and they want to expand that. And we took a look into Power Apps, into Business Central, and really delved into the resources that can help them expand their practice and how they can spend their co-op to help them do that. So really look into that co-op.
I can't stress that enough. So I think there's that interesting little trigger that we find is that there's that $10,000 threshold. And if you're under the $10,000 earned, it's just straight rebate. That's just in your pocket. You're good to go. You don't really have to worry about it. But if you're over that, absolutely use it or lose it. So I think you can do a bunch of different cool things with that money as long as you know it's there, because I don't know if anything's more heartbreaking to me than when a partner's like, oh, I didn't know it was there and I lost it. Like that's painful. So I don't want to have that happen to anybody. Okay,
No,
so
definitely not.
no, go
I've
ahead.
seen that happen number. No, I was gonna say I've seen that happen a number of times because it's just too late,
Hmm.
or partners just don't know. There's so much stuff in the Microsoft programs, the different resources that we point out to them. So trying to keep on top of their partner center is sometimes the tricky thing, and unfortunately, sometimes it's the co-op that kind of gets the raw deal there, where they're not checking that because they're looking into
Yes.
their incentives, their rebates, they're looking into their designations, and they're just missing that co-op and how to spend it. So yeah, and I would say the way to claim for co-op, it seems to have been. I think it's been simplified as well.
It
I've had a
has.
number of conversations with partners around the things that they can spend that money on that they didn't even realize. They thought it had to be a strict marketing
Sure.
campaign, let's say, and actually there's so much more to it. So yeah, there's tons they can do.
Excellent. Excellent. So, yes, Britain, do not lose those dollars. Absolutely. She's on the same page with us here in the chat. So, we're looking at FY24. Okay. So, we're here. We've wrapped up FY23 dang near. We're almost there to FY24. Now, as we start looking into Q1 and H1, so we obviously have our quarters, but we also want to look at it in a half. Matt, looking forward, where should partners be spending their time?
So if you've got me on LinkedIn, and I'm hoping some of you have that are watching, you'll see that I've been sharing massively recently that our PSE team is getting certified in Dynamics 365. Every time I see one of those guys sharing those posts, I am sharing that out. I think it's incredible, and the reason I'm bringing that up is to give them a good shout out because they're amazing people, but also that's where partners can look to reinvest. They can use that co-op funding to look at the certs that they want to go and attain and use the money to get there, save themselves some dollars and use their co-op. It's got, use it or lose it. So it's got to be put on something. You may as well reinvest that back into the business and actually enable your teams to upskill. Again, it could be you're interested in, moving into the space of Power Platform. There's the Power Platform fundamentals, all these different things that you can do. Or you might just have people that internally in your business keen to learn, and then there's the app maker. I've seen a few people go and do that and then go on to build power apps for their business internally as a partner.
That's
So it's not
awesome.
even something that they're thinking, oh, we'll go and sell it straight away. They don't know how to kind of put that into market just yet, but the fact that they're using it internally is really powerful. So
That is.
I would definitely say reinvesting, and then even events, looking at which events you want to sponsor, host, and then overall marketing campaigns as well. But I will say the events piece, that can be extremely powerful. I've been to a number of events recently, literally all over the world, and I been speaking to the sponsors that have
We've
been
kept
there,
you
the different
really busy.
ISVs.
You've
I
been super
know, I
busy.
know. I'm picking up those air miles, which is great. But yeah, it's being able to speak to the different ISVs and different vendors that are sponsoring those events, and just hearing what they're getting out of that. And they get so much out of those events and building their networks. Again, I would really look at that as part of your business strategy. Looking at what events are out there. Doesn't have to be like a partner event like we've been attending. There's a ton of events out there that end consumers are attending, and those sponsors are getting a ton of traction. So again, if you can utilize those co-op dollars for those kind of things, extremely powerful for FY24.
I think that's great. I mean, you can sponsor events, you can host lunch and learn. So, I mean, there's a lot of different options that you can do with events. So, I think that that's a really powerful tool. And Matt, you hit on the certifications. And I know that you've got certifications, I've got certifications. We are huge advocates of continuing that growth for that knowledge. Haley Marshall's team is taking LinkedIn by storm with these dynamic certifications. So that is super exciting to see. But I think that that's a huge tool as we go into MCPP planning. And within Partner Center, you can go in and you can see where you're at for the designations, and you can see people who
Yeah.
have the certifications, and they can use this co op funding to help them achieve these designations, right, Matt?
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? It's funny. This came up at the event I was at last week. I had a few partners that were just struggling with understanding the designations, where they were at. And sometimes as well, just seeing where they're at, they didn't quite understand, well, why have I got 30 points in this and nothing in this and so on. So really, help them, sit down with them and went through, there's a page on docs.microsoft.com that goes through absolutely everything. But yeah, using those, more and more partners are looking at, the next step, removing their competencies, moving on into the designations. So yeah, definitely using that funding for those is going to be extremely effective. And then one thing that I didn't even mention, I kind of glossed over marketing campaigns. And again, going back to the event I was at last week, I was very busy last week. This event, there was so many conversations. It was great. But I was able to show a ton of partners some resources that Microsoft have for marketing, things like digital marketing content on demand. There's an assets page with literally thousands and thousands of assets that partners can
Wow.
just
Okay.
download, use, email templates, pitch decks, social campaign templates, all sorts, case studies, videos, all sorts of stuff that partners can just download for free and use. And I was showing some partners, and I kind of, thought maybe they've seen these before. Not a single
They're
partner in the
hidden.
room raised
Okay,
their
maybe they're
hand.
not hidden.
It's
There's just a lot.
There is, and that's the thing. So that's what we're trying to do. Especially in from what I know in the dynamic space, is let's try and simplify, because even if you search for like Microsoft marketing resources, you get honestly like 6 or 7 really quality links that are all
Hmm.
separate websites. So again, it's
Yes.
using those at the right place, right time, what's best for you. So like the digital marketing content on demand, being able to send out mass emails to your clients all in one go right from their tools. Things like that might not be right for you, or it might be perfect for you. So it's all about, what do you want to do, and what tools are you using internally, and how you can tap into the Microsoft resources at the right time. So that's where we can come in. Our account managers, our team, we know this stuff, and we're really enabling partners to get the best of both worlds, all the great Pax8 resources that we have, but they're not missing out, not reinventing the wheel in terms of what Microsoft are providing as well, which is extremely effective for helping partners grow their business.
Sure. And I mean, just because it already has everything built out, it doesn't mean that you have to use it exactly, right? I mean, it's just a framework. Start there, see what makes sense for you and your business, and take little pieces of it. Because just because it's all put together in a nice little package doesn't mean you could just use it as an outline. You can take what
Yeah.
works, remove what doesn't. But I like at least an outline to start, and it helps move
Oh,
everything a little bit quicker.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. For example, there's an email template that I used once with a partner, and honestly, it had about 6 or 7 links in this email template, which just wasn't going to work for the partner. It didn't seem to have a very direct message that they wanted to, they wanted their customer to go to their website. I was
Sure.
like, okay, easy. We just trim, snip, put your link in there instead of those links. So but at least then we're not starting an email campaign right from the beginning. We have a draft and we just Pax8ify it, or do it for the partner, and we make it work. But again, it just saves so many partners spending money on marketing campaigns for the same thing that is available for free from Microsoft. So it's just again, we've talked about
Love it.
spending that co-op money. Spend it wisely.
Yep. I could not agree more. And I feel like Ryan Rowan couldn't be here today, but I feel like I have to say it. They have got to save time, make money, reduce risk. I think that this is the perfect example. He's going to say it time and time again when I have him on, but I'll say it for him today. Now, Matt, as we roll into FY24, we all look forward to going through the Microsoft earnings, right? They're going to talk about Q4, they're going to talk about the entire FY23. I mean, do you look at this? Where do people find it? What does this mean? What kind of influence does it have?
Yeah, so in terms of so when you talk about the earnings calls that I jump on, so I jump on the monthly Biz Apps earnings calls, the programs calls, and it all it's really enabling partners to understand what funding they can tap into at the right time, and also in terms of the earnings calls as well. I know there's also the incentives call, so anything changing in terms of rebates, those kind of things that are coming up on those calls. So hopefully I'm answering that question with the right resource that you want me to talk about. Microsoft has a lot, but they're
They
the two
have
that
a
spring to
there's a
mind as soon as you
couple.
say.
And like which earnings and which, and I mean that's a great point, Matt, is that there are multiple, there's Microsoft investments, you've got co-op, you've got rebates. I mean, Microsoft's going to come out with their entire P&L and how did Microsoft do all up? That's going to influence stocks. I mean, I think there's so much that goes into it. And
Yeah.
like I said, there's always a ton. So want to make sure, one, let's call out the Microsoft monthly webinar that we do here at Pax8. I think that's a great way to stay updated. So I know we don't have that this month, but we will have it next month. So that's helping just gather some of those resources for people. Want to make sure that. Now, you mentioned something, and it was just like a little tidbit earlier. Microsoft Inspire. What are we doing for it? I know that you're flying in, I'll be there. What's our little plan?
Yeah, this is it. There's got to be something going on if you're flying me over for it. But yeah, we've got daily blogs, daily live recaps. I will say, I was in between joining Pax8 last year when this event was going on, and I was already getting to know Kristen through those live recap YouTubes they were good fun. And I have to admit, because of I was on leave, we'll say, it was really nice. I didn't have to watch all of Inspire. I just happily watched Kristen's recaps every day, and they really helped me keep up with Inspire without having to watch everything. I'm not going to lie, we had a nice summer in the UK and I wasn't working, so I was enjoying myself and I just watched those recap videos. It was great. So make sure you check those out on the YouTube channel as well. And I think one thing that we're really keen on is just making sure that, again, we do not expect every partner to watch every single video, even for the cloud area that they are interested in, whether it's Power Platform or whatever that might be. So again, enable us to streamline a lot of the messaging and simplify it and have a little fun at the same time. I think that's key for when
Just
we
a
come
little.
over to Denver for Inspire. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this event for sure.
I mean, last year we did all the memes, we did Charlie Day. I mean, we always have a blast. And so there's going to be daily, like the live recaps. Obviously, if Matt's going to be there, I expect he's going to be there on camera too. We're going to have blogs, we've got celebrations, we do all kinds of fun stuff. So I think that's going to be a great time. Now, Matt, I think Inspire is an interesting one because what do partners get out of it? Like, what is the purpose of it? Maybe partners aren't as familiar with it. It used to be in person, it was in Vegas, it was an insane event. Now it's all virtual. But what should partners expect from an event like this?
Yeah. So some of the key things that come out of that, the Microsoft Partner Awards. That's something that is announced at those events every year. And also what that can really do. Yes, definitely keeping our fingers crossed for that for Pax8. But in terms of you as a partner as well, that might be new to Inspire. There might be award categories that you didn't even know about, and that might be perfect for you. You might think you're an SMB partner, you're probably not going to get an award or anything like that. Get those nominations in for next year. So keep an eye out for those awards just to see, even if you're not nominated yourself, just check out the categories, understand what they did, read their stories, the award winners as well, what they did and what you can incorporate into your business. So that's definitely something to check out, because that's not just Microsoft content, that's partners, what they've done to be successful in the eyes of Microsoft. So it's definitely worth checking that out. There's also a ton of content around innovations of the future. I always do enjoy the keynote of Inspire. Normally around a 20-minute keynote session right at the beginning. I really enjoy that. I get a ton of information out of that. And sometimes as well, that keynote changes what I want to listen to throughout the couple of days. So I listen to that keynote. I can hear where Microsoft really wants to put their focus, their investment. And sometimes that changes my agenda for Inspire as well. So make sure you attend that keynote, because that will really guide you for the next couple of days of that event. But yeah, in terms of things being discussed, new releases, new functionality, new updates, all these things. They've just released Microsoft Fabric today. So there's bound to be a ton of information on there and data analysis and all those amazing things. So definitely check it out for that. And then there's also great networking opportunities as well. Even though it's virtual, there are some good networking opportunities. So make sure when you go and sign up for Inspire and you register, make sure your profile is up to date and make it visible to other people to connect with you as well.
I like it. And so when we go through all of these, I think it's super important because they talk about, what's in private preview, what's in public preview, what is in general availability, what's coming. And you can definitely see those Microsoft pillars and what's happening over there. You're dropping your water bottle.
I just spilled my water. Not on my new laptop, I will say. So
Perfect.
We're all good.
I like it. Look, it's a live show. We just, it's going to be fine. We're putting new people in. We've got water everywhere. It's a great day. Anyway, Inspire's going to be great.
There's always something. When we are on this podcast together, there is always something.
Every time.
It's inevitable going so smoothly.
I feel like this is the part where we're just going to go ahead and transition in. And Matt, what does AFO stand for?
AFO? Well, anyone who works in Azure or even just anyone in Microsoft should really know what AFO stands for. And quite clearly, it's Azure for Operators. And anyone who gets that wrong, Elliot, needs to look at themselves in the mirror and just make sure they know these acronyms. So important. Microsoft only has a couple of acronyms. It's not that difficult.
Oh no, I have actual tears. Okay. I think as we've gone through the show, I love having the repeats on because people really get to know you. They get to know Britton and Elliot and all of these. And that acronym video in the very beginning before we go live, that one cracks me up every time. So we had to at least bring it up. Now, I wore the shirt for a reason because we were at a Dynamics event, Matt, and it was such a neat experience. It was my first time to get to interact with a lot of these different partners that were there. Tell me a little bit about Women in Dynamics.
Yeah, Women in Dynamics is a fantastic initiative set up by Vicky Critchley and a board of amazing women in the Dynamics community to really increase the attendance, increase the inclusivity of women within the Dynamics community. And this came about, there was an event, Directions EMEA, a few years ago now. It was in Milan. That was the very first kickoff of Women in Dynamics. And when they talked about some of the percentages of women speakers, women attendees, all these different things, it was so low. And that was an improvement on like the years prior. So there's definitely work to be done. Every time we go to these events, so I was at Dynamics Minds in Slovenia last week. We had a Women in Dynamics panel. I was part of a mentoring panel, which incorporated some women in Dynamics as well. But yeah, it's all around how can we support more women in the industry. There's also a huge, when you look at women in the industry, there's a huge drop-off rate. So sometimes it's not just getting them into the industry, it's the drop-off once they're in of not wanting to stay in the industry. So
we've got to retain this talent, Matt.
Exactly. Me, I can't get away from the women in our team. My boss is a woman, her boss is a woman, her boss is a woman. I got no chance getting away from it. So
I'm glad you're such a supporter. Oh. Well, look, I want to give a big shout out to Vicky Critchley and the whole initiative because to see everybody walking around in these shirts, there was so much allyship. There was a ton of people that were signed up. So many more women than I was expecting. I'm not going to lie. So that was an amazing thing to see. So I wanted to make sure we talked about it a little bit. Now you're coming out for Beyond.
I will just say,
No, what do you want to
No,
say? I want to hear it. I
I
like
was
women
only
in
going to say,
dynamics.
yeah, no, I was going to say you mentioned allyship, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to Steve Brooks because his session on allyship, sometimes those topics can be difficult to deliver on, and he just did an amazing job. He told some funny stories, and he's such a great guy. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to him. Big props for the session that he delivered. He did an allyship session again last week. And it's just great to see that even though it's a Women in Dynamics initiative, there's men presenting on behalf. It really is a collaboration, which is just phenomenal.
I could not agree more. His session was fantastic. And that led right into my Beyond one because you have a session with him. What is just the title of it? Just a quick little overview of what you guys are going to cover because the two of you are like dream team status.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we presented for the very first time together last week. We've known each other for around 5 years now. We've been, collaborating for that much time, and we've just never presented together. So last week was the first time. Next time's going to be in Beyond, so it gets bigger and better all the time. Yeah, we're talking around essentially how our Pax8 partners can truly go to market with Dynamics 365. Essentially, if you're a Pax8 partner, you are a Dynamics partner, and we can really enable you to go to market. So we're going to be talking around that. We're going to be talking around Business Central Launchpad. We're going to be talking about the overarching opportunity that you have as a Pax8 partner to go to market. Kristen mentioned it at the beginning. $1.9 billion worth of opportunity in Cloud Ascent. Around 50 to 60% of that is in Dynamics. So it's a session not to be missed. I don't know who we're up against in the agenda at Beyond, but missed their sessions and come to mine. I hope to see you there.
I love it. And Matt, I think that you really hit it. And I want you to say it one more time because we have to end it with a dynamics question. Who at Pax8 are dynamics partners?
Oh, we're building them up. We've got in the UK, we've got Cloud9, we've got True North Dynamics over in the US, we've got a Zomba, we've done some work with Q Associates. There's just we're building up a network of Dynamics partners, and it's great
Amazing.
to see the collaboration.
I love it. And those partners are the one enabling all of our partners to transact Dynamics. So Matt, thank you for taking the last minute spot that we had open. I think this was a great conversation. I really appreciate you jumping in today.
No problem. I'm going to drop off because I need a towel to clean up my desk. But thank you very much for having me on. I absolutely love it. Anytime.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Technically Unraveled. I look forward to seeing you at Beyond. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any content. Make sure to tune in next week with Ryan Rowan. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.